Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Anime Initiative, the anime and manga focused podcast of your dreams, presented by comicbook.com. I am your host, Megan Peters. I am back from a week out, and I am here reunited with my good friends and colleagues, Evan Valentine and Nick Valdez.
Hey,
Howdy,
everybody.
everybody.
Hello. Well, as I just said, I'm back from a week at the beach. Unfortunately, didn't get to go into the ocean at all. Nanami would be so upset with me. Jujutsu Kaisen. I really was trying to channel my inner, Nanami Kento, being at the beach. But man, the riptides were so bad. Couldn't do it.
Oh, that's scary.
I know. So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm just going to listen to this anime podcast on the beach. And I also watched a lot of fruit baskets on the beach
nice.
as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had just enough bandwidth or whatever that I was able to pull up Fruits Basket, and I was like, man, is it time? It's time. So welcome to Anime Initiative. As I've said, we are here to talk about all the biggest things that have happened in the past week for anime, manga, otaku culture, webtoons, whatever we want to talk about, we're going to bring it up. And we have a massive show this week. The day I came back from my vacation was apparently the day that Shonen Jump just decided to drop some of the biggest chapters of the past year. So we're going to start with a general news rundown. We're going to talk about everything from Netflix's Terminator Anime. We're going to talk about One Piece. We're going to talk about a couple of other things, including Toonami Rewind in the second half of the show. But as a clear warning, we are introducing a section of this show that is called spoiler territory. In the first half of our show, we are going to be addressing 3 major things that happened in the manga world in the past, week. We're going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen. We're going to be talking about My Hero Academia and Boruto 2 Blue Vortex as its new chapter just came out. So when we start talking about those things, we'll give you another spoiler warning if you're not up to date with the manga, if you don't want to know. But just wanted to make sure it's very clear because some massive things happened. So with that said, I need one of you two to fill me in on what is going on with Netflix's Terminator. Because apparently it's not focused on guns.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to, Nick, if that's okay. I'm more than happy to
Go for it, Evan.
tackle this one. So, so Netflix had previously announced that they were creating a Terminator anime that was just, for all that we knew, was just called Terminator the Anime to start initially. But the official name has come out, and it's Terminator Zero. It's made by Production IG, which folks might recall for their work on Haikyuu, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
No, you did.
As well as Kaiju number 8, and like a whole bunch of other stuff like Psycho-Pass.
Wait, Psycho-Pass people are on this?
Yeah. Ghost in the Shell, standalone complex, just a whole bunch of good stuff. They announced that this will be releasing on August 2nd, I believe, with 8 episodes. Megan, as you mentioned, they are shying away, as you can see from some of the promotional images that we just put up. There will be guns in the series, but not as many, because this story will be, yep, there you go. Thanks, producers.
There we go.
There is a gun in this. There will be some guns in this, but the story, at least in the quote-unquote past, will be taking place in Japan, where guns are not as frequently seen. As folks may or may not know, Japan has some pretty strict gun ban laws in effect. So they will be kind of focusing more on a new part of the Skynet adventure, as it were. The Connor family will not, as far as we know, they won't be the focus. We don't know if they're showing up or not. This will be focused on the scientist Malcolm, who folks may remember appeared in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This will be showing him in his younger years back in the day. And one of the most interesting things about this, aside from obviously this is Terminator's first anime series, is that they are looking to take a more horror approach to this rather than an action approach, which is kind of
like body horror. I assume that's kind of
if you kind of remember from the first Terminator movie, people have made the argument that that's a slasher movie, and it kind of makes sense, because Terminator is kind of like Halloween's Michael Myers, Friday the 13th's Jason Voorhees, kind of those scary, voiceless killers. That's the same deal with Arnold Schwarzenegger's original role going after Linda Hamilton's Sarah Connor. And apparently they're leaning more towards into that. So that should be I'm enthusiastic to see kind of how this works. I think like Terminator is kind of one of those franchises that when it hits, it hits. And
Mhm.
so
I mean,
I'm
I
I'm
have to ask
anxious
the
to see it.
question that comes from pure ignorance on my part, but also I'm sure everyone else wants to know. Is Arnold Schwarzenegger gonna be in an anime? Will he voice a line for this anime? I
I
need
Uh
I need Arnold
Unconfirmed.
Schwarzenegger's anime debut to happen this year.
I don't know, because that's the thing. Like, so Mattson Tomlin is the writer, creator, showrunner behind this, who also did the Batman. He's doing the Batman 2 right now. It's coming
Mhm.
out on August 29th. Just a little clarification.
Oh, August
That's
29th.
a
There.
specific date because that is Judgment Day within the Terminator universe. So that's just a fun little Easter egg on top of everything else.
Mhm.
Schwarzenegger might or might not appear because Tomlin did say that this ties into the overall canon of the Terminator franchise. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't cast down on it, but I would also cast down on it. Like it'd be cool because
Literally, I just want one
Schwarzenegger,
line. Just
yeah,
one
he's
line.
tied into the whole Netflix universe right now with projects he's doing and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be too far outside of the realm of possibility for that to happen. But we'll see how that shakes out. And like Evan said, it's geared more towards the OG horror of the first one, that science fiction monster movie kind of thing, rather than the full action scope. But you never know, and that's what's exciting about this one.
Interesting. Well, I mean, as somebody who has such little reference for the Terminator franchise, it sounds like to me like something like this looks like it's more akin to something like the cyberpunk anime that they did, Black Lotus, I believe, or that they did with like Cyberpunk Edge Runners for the video game. Like it's tied in, but it's still separate. I'm
Mhm.
really curious to see how it fits into like the Terminator lore into Japan. Again, as somebody who is entirely ignorant of the Terminator franchise, sounds like I'm gonna have to watch those movies finally.
Hopefully not.
But yeah.
Like I think that would be the beauty of it, right? Like that
Okay,
you
then I
wouldn't.
won't watch them, and I'll be the guinea pig. Okay, that's
Yes,
my plan.
yes.
If
That's
We do we
I
do
perfect
can
because
drive,
yes.
yeah.
we do strongly recommend that you watch 1 and 2 though. I would just say as a movie enthusiast, I would say watch 1 and
Wanna
2 and
know
then
what
you
my
don't have to
experience with the
watch
Terminator
any of the other
franchise
ones.
is? It's literally that like live stunt show thing that they had at Universal Studios.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
That's like the only thing I know about Terminator. So, you know, I know a little bit. I know a little bit. So, yeah, we'll be getting that show come August. And that's what we said, right? August
Yeah,
29th?
August
August
29th.
29th. Yeah,
Yeah, which
as Nick
is
said.
officially Judgment Day, and that's when Skynet decides to blow up everything and take over. So
Love
it's
that.
a
Love
very
that.
fun date for it to come out on, and I can't wait. Hopefully that doesn't turn out to be the reality on August 29th. So I guess we'll see, right?
I get
Fingers
fingers
crossed.
crossed, man. Well, speaking of some things that are coming out in this, later in the year, specifically in June, so not too far away from August. One Piece has decided it's taking its 25th anime anniversary to the next level, and I mean that so literally because first we got the One Piece official cafe opening in Las Vegas, and now One Piece is about to take over the Las Vegas sphere. Which, if you don't know what that is, everybody just pause for a second, look it up. It is this massive ball shaped building essentially in Las Vegas that is covered with LED screens that, various movies, various franchises, like Stranger Things have, used for promotions. They've put emojis up there. Avatar: The Last Airbender with at the Netflix live action series. Brought it forward. They had Aang appear in the ball. Well, now One Piece is taking over it, which will mark the first ever anime collaboration with the Las Vegas Sphere. That will be going live in the middle of June. So if you're going to be in the Las Vegas area, it'll just be on the outside of the building. So I assume you'll be able to see it and not have to pay for anything. Fingers
Mm.
crossed. But yeah, One Piece is going hard. It is still repping its 25th anniversary like nothing I've ever seen. It will
Yep.
not let it die. So If you're in the area,
why not?
come do.
Why not? Right? Like, why not? We've talked about this on Anime Initiative before. How One Piece is just starting to blow up in full around the world, and I love that this is just another example of this. Right? Like, we're getting to appreciate One Piece on this grand scale, and I hope there's no signs of slowing down. I'm willing to celebrate this 25th anniversary until like the 50th.
we just keep it going. My question is are we gonna get spoiled? Will people get spoiled on the anime watching the sphere? Are they gonna put this is anime are they gonna put like Gear 5 up there or something?
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure, Gear 5.
Yeah.
Like, what if
I was
the
thinking
Marineford arc or something? And
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking they just post all the biggest stuff from the Marineford arc.
What if they start doing that? I guess we're gonna start leaning into spoiler territory now, but like they need to be careful with what they're gonna put on that sphere because it's so big on the Las Vegas city strip skyline. You can't avoid it. So like if you just started the One Piece anime, like careful, man. You could get some Dressrosa issues coming forth, Whole Cake Island. Man, you don't even know. I'm super curious to see what they're gonna put up, but like they have to put Gear 5 up. There's no way they can't.
Yeah, it's Gear 5 is basically like their Super Saiyan now, because I know Luffy has had cool transformations in the past, but Gear 5's that kind of such a different look that when you put it out, you're like, wow, what's going on there, right? And I assume that like Super Saiyan, if someone were just jumping into One Piece for the first time, they'd be waiting to get to that point. Yeah, you're waiting like 1,000 episodes and you get to watch like a brilliant anime on the way, but it's one of those things. Rather than a spoiler, it's like, here's something to watch for in anticipation. So I hope we're definitely getting Gear 5. No doubt about it. 1,000%.
Yeah. Honestly, I'll be so disappointed. So, but yeah, if you're going to be in the Las Vegas area in like the middle of June, it'll be up for about a week, about 4 or 5 days. So you'll be able to see it. And while you're in Las Vegas, you can also stop by the official One Piece cafe if they have seats available, because it is super popular.
Yeah, it's blown up.
Again, I've said anime cafes, do it. Bring them to the United States. They're very successful. I'm gonna keep saying it until there's one opens near me. But enough said, because now it's time. It's time for spoiler territory. Again, I cannot stress this enough. We are talking about spoilers for the latest manga updates for Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, and Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. If that scares you, just pause, scroll for about 20-ish minutes, and then come back. If you want to listen to what we have to say about some massive manga updates, continue to listen, because we're going to start with Jujutsu Kaisen. Mainly because I'm still flabbergasted. I'm still there. So, if you did not know, the latest chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen went live this week for Shonen Jump, and at the very end of it, after Sukuna got hit, how many black flashes has he been hit with at this point? Like 20?
It's been like 20. Yeah,
it's been like 20 something at this point. Like
yeah.
His soul, his cursed energy is leaking through his ears at this point. At the very end of the chapter, right before he is going to try to open his domain so he can obviously take out Todo, who reappeared, and Yuji, he sees the ghost, quote unquote, I'm putting ghost in quotes, that Gojo is back.
You had to bring back the most popular character, anime character of all time, where you would see
the creator of Jujutsu Kaisen hates Gojo. And he's
that's funny.
shy about it. He does not like Gojo. So I'm sure when he, killed him off, he was so excited. But we do see this silhouette figure of Gojo appearing on the battlefield before Sukuna, really freaks the guy out. And in the text, it says that he sees the ghost or the shadow of a powerful man that he put in that he buried himself, essentially that he killed himself. And then in the kind of ending text of the chapter, it says that those eyes can only belong to him. So, of course, now everyone's freaking out because they want to know, is Gojo alive? Let's discuss. I want him to be alive. Do I think he
Yeah.
is alive? No. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I do not think he's alive. I think Sukuna has been hit with so many black flashes that he is hallucinating.
That's a worthy theory. I think that, like, yeah, I don't think Gojo is back from the dead. Gigi just loves killing characters too much to possibly bring back any character. But I personally, I wouldn't mind having Gojo coming back in the final. You know, I don't know if we know yet. Do we have an official statement on whether Nobara is dead or
We have no
not?
idea.
No, we have
We've
no. Yeah,
never
we still
they
don't
never
know.
mentioned it. Literally, Yuji asked Megumi way, 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 way long ago. They was like, how's Nobara? And Megumi just gave him a look. And Yuji was like, oh,
Oh
okay.
man.
So we have no idea. I mean, it has been really set up that she's dead. And I mean, to be honest, the idol transfiguration that Mahito did on her doesn't look survivable. But
No.
a lot of things have happened in Jujutsu Kaisen that you shouldn't be able to survive, but they survived. Speaking of which, Gojo has technically died before. I mean, if we just, I mean, season 2, look at the hidden inventory arc. I mean, he got wrecked by Toji, but was able to use his reverse curse technique to come back to life since his head wasn't, taken off. So that's the primary theory I'm saying now is, technically when Sukuna killed Gojo, he just kind of cut him in half. His head is
Yeah,
still
like
there.
the
He's
the
technically
idea that Malevolent Shrine and that technique had such a thread fine cut that
Yeah.
Gojo was able to reseal himself back up, and like
Mhm.
muscles and tendons still operate and stuff like that. That's funny enough. That's something that literally happened in the newest chapter of Sakamoto Days. So hilariously, this all kind of ties together. But I also don't think that Gojo's back. It would be super cool, but also what purpose would that serve at this point? Gojo also isn't. I know he's big to fans, and I know he's kind of like the mascot for the series unofficially. But when
Mhm.
you look at the grand scheme of the series, he's been in like 3 fights, and and those fights never really reach their conclusions. And his fight against Sukuna had like a proper ending, and
Mhm.
it ultimately led with him losing, and that kind of serves Gojo's purpose in the story to like, oh, here's everybody else kind of figuring stuff out. And that's what also Gojo has done in the past. You take Gojo out of the story, everyone else kind of has to figure out what to do, and things get worse as a result, yada, yada, yada. Shibuya incident, he was sealed within the prison realm. Shinjuku showdown, he was literally killed, and now Yuji and the others have to figure it out. So I
Mhm.
think this is just more Gojo serving that purpose. And if he comes back, it's cool, but also it's the kind of pull from a place that I don't want to mention here. That's like, I don't like that. It
Mhm.
doesn't feel right. Like, especially because Jujutsu Kaisen has been so on top of killing its characters. Yes, we talk about it all the time. Stop killing your characters. You won't have any left. But there's at least been a respect to that sense. Because with
Yeah.
Nobara, we're questioning her status because it's never been outright said she's been killed. They have
Right.
never like all they've done is said, oh, she's basically on the life of like, there's a 0.000 whatever 1 chance of her maybe surviving. And because of that, it wasn't a complete confirmed death. But with everyone else, it's like dead, 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 dead. And they stay dead unless they come back as like a cursed monster or something. So
Right.
Jujutsu Kaisen has respected death to the point where if it just kind of brings Gojo back just because he's Gojo, and it's like, oh, this is another one of use of his powers, that that seems kind of wrong to me, especially because Yuji and Toto are once again in the midst of doing yet another one of the final arc, or final battle of the arc kind of thing, where they team up and beat the villain.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, God bless Toto. That is truly at this point, they already took I mean, Megumi, we'll see what kinda goes down with that. Nobara, what we're also kind of in flux with. Nanami's dead, like, for sure, absolutely
Oh,
never
for sure.
back.
Yeah,
And then last week in the manga, if you also weren't aware, we lost Choso, which is Yuji's, half brother. So Toto is really sticking it out to bat for Yuji at this point.
Please
Like,
live.
keep someone.
Yeah,
Live,
that's the
Toto.
thing.
Don't die.
Please,
I know,
Toto,
truly. At this
Toto
point,
is.
I'm like, everyone else can go.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, right? Is that people celebrate Gojo and highlight him as like the best character, but it's actually Toto, right? Like Aoi
True.
Toto is literally like the best Jujutsu Kaisen character, and honestly, probably one of the best Shonen Jump characters ever. Like I'm hard to, like, yeah, maybe it's recency bias or whatever, but I'm hard pressed to think of like a character that's made me laugh and just enjoy his presence so much, and also a badass at the same time. Like he's not a joke. Like he's literally like a big piece of support and does some really hefty things within the story.
Yes.
When I would recommend folks to check out Jujutsu Kaisen, I would show them the battle from the first season where he's clapping and everything's shifting, because it's such a cool move, and his personality works so well with it and everything. So yeah, please live, Toto.
Well, I guess that we're officially a Toto Stan podcast.
Yeah.
So, if you ever need your daily dose of,
It's
Toto,
fire.
affirmation, just hit us up. But we're going to move now from Jujutsu Kaisen to another big series that we just got. We're going to talk about Boruto. Then we're going to take a little break and hit My Hero Academia, because that's going to be a little bit of a longer discussion for us. But for this spoiler territory discussion, Boruto 2 Blue Vortex is back. It just released its new chapter, and we officially know that the Ninetales, good old Kurama, is very much alive, as we suspected. And he did not reincarnate back in nature. He has now become one with Himawari, who is Naruto's only daughter and second child. So yeah, we have here's the thing. Technically, she's not a Jinchuriki, which is throwing me off. But she has the Ninetales form. Essentially, she is a Jinchuriki. And Kurama even says Himawari has the potential to tap into his powers as a tail beast better than Naruto ever could. So, what are we thinking?
First, I'd like to give a golf clap to Masashi Kishimoto for making 2 Blue Vortex awesome. It's really
where was this? Where was this? Truly, where was this?
It's a lot of cool building blocks in terms of like a lot of cool stuff in terms of like Boruto Uzumaki's status. The new villains are kind of cool, like the divine trees. Is an interesting hook. The idea that Boruto himself is this renegade on the run from his former friends is a neat status quo in general. And having Himawari be the next, whether or not she's a Jinchuriki or not, that's up to debate, but having her be the vessel for the Nine-Tailed Fox is an exceptionally cool thing to do with her character, and it brings back Kurama into the fold in a really interesting way. I'm jazzed to see kind of where it goes, and whenever it comes back to the anime series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about you, Nick?
Yeah, it finally feels like a sequel, right? And it's so funny that once again I don't want to compare it to the original Naruto series, because Shippuden, we liked Shippuden after the time jump, but Naruto really blew up, and it was really best in the early days rather than the time jump, because post time jump, that's when I started to actually lose interest, and this is where things kind of blew up in its face. But with 2 Blue Vortex, it's kind of the opposite. The first half, we were kind of like wandering around for a little bit, just like figuring out new status quos, where the story was going, who Boruto was, all that stuff. But with 2 Blue Vortex, there's actually a story here. And each chapter, because it's a monthly release, we felt that across many years, right? Like reading Naruto Next Generations, we were like, what is this? But
what are you doing?
Yes, but with 2 Blue Vortex, it's immediately like, oh, this is another great step in the story, and every little chapter has something big in it, and to where it's like, oh, I really can't wait to see where that goes, because I love in this one, even Kurama is like, yo, I don't know how I got in you, I don't know why I'm here, but here I am. And like,
truly, I love this explanation. It very much gave Star Wars the 9th film, where it's like, somehow Palpatine is alive.
Yeah.
It gave very much that energy, which I appreciated. But yeah, we have a new. I guess until I know more certain, if I feel more confident that Himawari is a Jinchuriki, I'm just gonna call it a vessel. But Himawari and Kurama are now together. I'm super excited to see. That's one thing I always really loved in the original Naruto, and it's the thing that really most interested me in the time skip stuff was all the discussion about the cycle of the Bijou and the tailed beast and the history of their connection with chakra and nature. I think that stuff was fascinating. So when we lost Kurama, I was so upset. But now he's back, and most importantly, he's a little baby.
Yeah, he's
He's
back in
adorable.
mascot form. Yeah, he's back in mascot form, right? Like this
Yeah,
is one of those
he's
like
it's
baby
like when he was
Kurama.
cute.
Yeah, baby Kurama now on shelves now. You know,
We
in
need to sell
stores now.
merchandise.
Go
Look,
buy.
they look again, Star Wars. They looked at the Mandalorian. They saw Yoda, baby Yoda, and they said, I see that. I
We
see
need
where
one
we're
of
at.
those.
I know. They said, write me a check. Let's do this. So that is where we're at with Boruto. If you are not caught up with Two Blue Vortex, again, the three of us, we all have I feel like we have different opinions on how Boruto Naruto Next Generations worked out. I think all of us, though, I could say we're pretty steadfastly lukewarm on how that went. Boruto Two Blue Vortex has really swung that around. It has done so well
Yes.
in really living up to the legacy that the mainline Naruto series set. So with that, we do have to pay for this show really quick. We're going to take a quick break. Then we will continue our spoiler territory discussion with My Hero Academia, because if you know, you know. And then we're going to talk about Toonami Rewind, a new program that is coming from Cartoon Network that is going to basically tap into the true power of anime nostalgia. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Anime Initiative, where we are talking about the biggest news that has happened in the world of anime and manga in the past week. We are continuing our spoiler territory discussion and finally turning our gaze to what might just be the best shonen series I've ever consumed in my life, My Hero Academia. It's so weird, but we are at the end game. I mean, full stop. We just hit the series climax, not just the arc, not just the saga. We just hit the climax, because if you are not aware somehow, if you've been living under a rock, My Hero Academia has done it. Shigaraki and All for One have been defeated completely. Full stop.
They're gone.
They are quite literally gone, dissolved, disintegrated.
They've been atomized.
They have been snapped, very similar to what Thanos would do. They were not feeling well. They're gone. Deku was able to come out of this battle, on top, as I think we all expected. I don't think anybody expected anything differently. But this latest chapter of My Hero Academia did have the final moments of All for One and Shigaraki. It kind of really brought together kind of the whole ideology that the manga has, espoused since it began, of that, heroes don't win in isolation, they win in collaboration. Which, oh man, I teared up. I can't even lie to you. I can't even. When that chapter came out, the tears. There were so many tears. One, because it has been almost a 10-year ride with My Hero Academia at this point. So to see it kind of reach this climax is insane. But secondly, Kohei Horikoshi, the creator of My Hero Academia, pulled out some of the most beautiful artwork he's ever done. I don't even know. It's truly sickening. So I've said my piece for now.
Yeah.
How y'all feeling about it?
See, I don't know yet. I'm still like
Really?
kind of like, yeah, I need the next chapter to come out so I could get a confirmation, because we've been faked out so many times already.
Man, I'm gonna say this: if it's a fake out this time,
yeah,
one of the few fake outs that I'm gonna be like, this is stupid.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, and like, and everyone watching and listening to Anime Initiative probably knows my stance on My Hero Academia already. And if you don't, I'm kind of negative a lot of the time. And this, unfortunately, is one of those times where I'm like, I really like this if it's an ending. This is all it is. I'm just trying to like wait until, because we've seen All For One come back. We've literally seen All For One rewinded to the point where he no longer existed, but then was like, oh, well, I didn't go anywhere. Haha, joke's on all you. And so we like, it's gotten to the point where like I need that confirmation. I need everyone to say, I need someone to literally say it, to look at the camera in the panel and be like, All For One is gone. Tomura Shigaraki
All For One
is gone.
did not return. He did
Yes,
not
return. You need Kohei Horikoshi to come to your front door, knock, and tell you, sir, Nick, it's over. The nightmare, your nightmare is over.
That's what I mean. I need that, because yes, I love it too, Megan. Like, I 1000%, I agree. Of course I agree. This is a great way for it to all come around for Deku. Because ever since the Shie Hasakai arc, one of the theories was that, One For All, its true ability was to gather the dreams of everyone else to make him stronger, right? And we kind of see a literal visual representation of that, as like the panels kind of coolly connected through like energy lines to Deku. And so like, seeing that all play out and seeing that theory come to fruition, like, is great. But also, I'm sitting here going, please be it.
Well, I'll say this. For me, I don't know if there's a colder line that has been like said in My Hero Academia, where Izuku was like, you are not a god, you are not the demon lord, you are just a lonely man. And then he obliterates All For One.
I thought
I legitimately, I was like, I mean, if the punch doesn't kill you, the insult does.
I thought that your the line that you were going to quote as being the most cold was the one of Shigaraki's last lines, which was, tell Spinner that even at the end, all Tomura wanted to do was destroy. I thought that was such a cool, like, he kind of sort of redeemed himself. I think that was one of the things that I was really scared about, and that a lot of readers were scared about, was like, Shigaraki's redemption. Can you really redeem this dude? And it's like, the answer is no.
No.
Like,
no, straight to the I love that. Straight to the end, he stuck to his guns. It was just like, nah.
He he helped take out All For One with that internal punch with the vestiges, but he did it selfishly because he was mad at All For One. He didn't do it to save the world. He did it out of spite, which is the most Shigaraki
everything.
Yes, it's literally like he hates All For One more than he hates Deku and the world, which is saying something, which is awesome. And then Deku's response to all that was just like, it's already been destroyed, and like, it's just kind of like that's that moment where you think back to the start of the series where Deku's like, this is the story about how I became like the world's greatest hero, the number one hero. And it's moments like that where you look at it, you see everybody watching him, you're like, this is it. But so can we talk about this? I previously wrote about how I didn't want Deku to end the series without any powers, because I feel like he sacrificed so much through this fight, through the story, that if it ended with him being like, that's how I became the number one hero, but then then the narration would continue and be like, but the rest of my friends went on to become like the world's heroes or whatever, right? I didn't want anything like that, because Deku deserves a happy ending where he gets to have like powers, like he gets to like live happily, right? And I do think, I'm hoping that One For All and All For One kind of merged into like this new thing within Deku, right? I don't know. What do you two think?
That's a great point, because I was gonna try to address that as well, in terms of like thinking about where Deku goes in the number one. It's really wild to think that they're still freshmen in high school. I think that's crazy. Out of all the stuff that has happened,
man, they better get all A's on their exam.
They better be professional. They better have their own agencies when all this ends.
I know,
but
truly.
one of the things that I thought would be a really cool way for this all to end with Deku specifically is the idea. I would like to see him get whatever his original quirk was back, because I know that originally there
Ooh.
was All for One said, or I can't remember if it was All for One or Dr. Garaki, the League of Villains mad scientist, kind of said that they took whatever Deku was originally supposed to have and like kind of kept that in the I don't know what happened to it originally, but I would love to see, like, and maybe it's a really bad quirk, maybe it's terrible, but he finds a way, much like we've seen with Lemillion, much like we've seen with a lot of other, crime fighters who have been able to train to a point where their quirks that were originally seen as really bad were able to become these really
Are we
powerful
talking
things.
about Mineta right now?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, but yeah, even Venetta's been doing great stuff, right? And
Mhm,
Yeah.
I don't know,
mhm.
yeah, like I'm wondering because I kind of want him to have that the one for all electricity. So that's my only
Mhm.
thing is like I
Right.
kind of want our look at like if the series ends with like a flash forward and we get to see like adult Deku, I kind of want adult Deku with like the green lightning and stuff like that. Like
Right.
I
Mhm.
selfishly want that for
I think
Deku, and so
everyone
yeah.
does. I think
Yeah.
everyone does. I mean, we get that very obvious panel of the bloody fists of Shigaraki and of Deku touching fists. We know the vestiges weren't destroyed. They were just hiding within, All for One for that final attack. I feel like they will fake us out really hard about him being quirkless again. I feel like ultimately he will get some sort of hybrid quirk back, one for one or all for all, or however they want to do it, all for one and one for all. They just merge
Oh,
them
there we
together.
go. There we
Yeah, like he
go.
just
Like I
becomes
think
the
that's
Three
it.
Musketeers. Like I don't know what that looks like, but I feel like at this point, you know, there is something to be said, having the world's greatest hero be someone who's quirkless, given the trajectory that My Hero Academia has taken. I just feel like that's no longer his trajectory as a character.
Yeah.
So I would be very surprised if this ends with, Deku not having some form of his quirk back. I don't think you're gonna have, you know, Black Whip and all that stuff back with him. I think those are gone. I think he's lost those. But I feel like he should be able to ride out that quirk as its last inheritor because quirk as they've discussed that probably is he's going to be the last person that inherits it. So as we're looking at the end game, I mean, truly and honestly, I think the manga is done in July at the latest. I
Oh, at the
Yeah.
latest. Oh,
I think at the
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
latest, it's
interesting.
gonna wrap sometime in July because that July 2024 marks the 10-year anniversary of the manga. I think they're gonna get to 10 years, and then I think that's probably gonna be when Kohei
Yeah,
Horikoshi
because
says, "I'm out. I'm done.
yeah,
I need a break."
I
I
I
think
think that
I think we
I
get
think
to
that
July.
lines up. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
lines up because the movie is out in Japan in August, like the next
Yeah.
one, and it's literally called Your Next. Like I know it's
Yeah.
like playing into the thing, but it's also like that would be a fitting way to like be like, oh, okay, the manga's ending, the anime's next, right? And
Right.
I just hope it's not one of those endings where like Deku's powerless, right? And then he like looks at his hand and it starts to like glow with electricity and it says like the end
It's
or something like that, right?
100% going to be that, Nick. You
Yeah.
know it's going
No,
to be
I
that.
I I have more faith in Kohei Horikoshi. If this was Jujutsu Kaisen, maybe. But I I have more faith in Horikoshi to deliver us a really satisfying, triumphant comic book hero ending. I
Right.
do have that faith in him of that kind of optimism. So I think we're gonna be done by July. The real question is when do we get My Hero Academia Next Generation?
I'm about to say. So
When
I'm
do we
all
get the sequel of
I'm going to
Aaron of
be
her time at high school?
I am really going to be sad to see this universe go, I think. And
Gosh,
like
I
honestly
know it's not gonna be good.
when I was thinking about it initially, I was just like, can't we do something where it's kind of how Dragon Ball and how Naruto works, where like, yes, Kohei Horikoshi has earned his retirement, but can't he like stick around as like the guy as like he hands off to a new artist and a new writer who kind of like introduces something like the next. I mean, My Hero Academia, the next generation. I don't know. I kind of want to read that, like in
I mean,
general.
it
Like,
could go actual comic book, and
yeah,
Horikoshi, he's the overseer, but he passes it on to, a new creator and a new creator.
I think
You
that'd
know,
be
that
cool.
that I there's so much in the world that could be explored, and part of it is actually all of it is very selfish on me. I don't want to let go. It's been
Yeah.
such a fundamental shonen series for me, uh, that I can't imagine letting it go. It's the same thing with Naruto. When Naruto was getting close to the end, I was like, "How am I gonna
Mhm.
live?" One Piece is gonna be the same way for me. Um, and Naruto ended up not fully
Yeah, it was like
closed.
we
So, I mean,
yeah,
there's
we
parts of
still
it.
haven't figured that
Yeah.
out, right? Like we still haven't found out what life without Naruto is like, right?
I know. I
So
still I still am blissfully unaware. So I'm good. I can't think about what's gonna happen when One Piece is done. I won't do it. But, we are really face to face looking in the mirror at the end game of My Hero Academia as it's approaching its 10-year anniversary. And you know, there's still a lot to be done, but I feel like this climactic chapter we just got, assuming Nick is wrong and that this is really is the end. This is the end. There's no more like Deus Ex Machina stuff going on. I think as a climax, gorgeous. I don't
yeah.
think it could have been done better. I don't even necessarily think that the fight between Deku was rushed with Shigaraki or All for One. I've seen that conversation about how people were like, "Oh, I thought it was going to take a couple chapters for them to like really," but that's just not how the trajectory of this war was going. Um, so I'm 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Also, the fight started a year ago, so I think
I've
it
been over
lasted
a
long
year. It's
enough.
been
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. Deku started fighting Shigaraki like when UA like came crashing down from the floating thing, and that was literally a year ago, or like maybe even more. So there's been plenty of time. We're fine.
To be fair, it's no roof piece, but
Yeah.
it's kind of a little long, I
To
guess.
be
But
fair, well, here's the thing. Luffy likes to draw out his fights, especially when he's, gear fifth. So we can
That's so
understand, but
true. That's so
I
true.
know.
Deku is all business, right? He's not like the other ones.
Deku,
He's not
he
like
wants out.
Goku. Yeah, he's not
He
like
wants to
Goku. He's
finish
like, let
the
me see how
fight,
strong
go
you're gonna
get
get.
some
Yeah, yeah.
Tatsudan. He's done. He wants to get his hours in and he wants to get out.
Yeah.
It's fine. I love it. So that is our spoiler discussion territory for My Hero Academia. We will obviously be keeping everyone in touch with these series as we keep moving forward because things are getting crazy. But now we want to shift our attention to another piece of news that we want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into for the remainder of this episode. And that is Toonami Rewind, which I feel like Nick would be the perfect person to introduce this to me.
Oh my God, yes. So Toonami Rewind will be an official block starting with Cartoon Network fairly soon, and just later this summer. It's technically the Adult Swim part of Cartoon Network, just like how Checkered Past is the Adult Swim version of Cartoon Network shows like Courage the Cowardly Dog, Ed, Ed and Eddie. Samurai Jack just got recently added to it. And now this new block is called Toonami Rewind, which is the official anime nostalgia block. It's bringing back some of the old bumpers from like the 2012 run of Toonami. So for buddies at home who might not know, Toonami had like a lengthy run back. It started in like the 2000s. It was like a weekly block kind of thing. Then it moved to Saturdays, and then it had like a midnight slot. And basically, it ended in 2000. No, wait, no, it ended in 2008. Came back in 2012 as part of one of Adult Swim's April Fool's jokes, because previously they would only show The Room, the movie The Room. One year it was Tom from Toonami going, "Guess who's back?" And that ended up being such a hit. Toonami officially came back in 2012 and is now run to this day with a much longer run than it did in the original like state. But Toonami Rewind will be officially 4 blocks of shows starting May 31st. So it's literally like a couple of days from now. It's going to be Sailor Moon, which is the Viz Media version, the newer English dub. It's going to be 2 episodes of Dragon Ball Z Kai and an episode of Naruto with the classic Naruto, because Toonami airs Naruto Shippuden, so classic Naruto OG stuff, the stuff we all grew up with. So it's going to be yes. We're getting it 1 day a week rather than in the place of Checkered Past, and then then it'll get into the Adult Swim stuff. So it's going to be awesome. And like I'm assuming, like Checkered Past, it's going to have room to get more of these licenses, to get more of these shows back on the air. And I wanted to ask you two, what kind of shows would you want to see on there? Because I'm already thinking like Yu Yu Hakusho, get us that Gundam Wing action.
Yeah,
what do you two think?
Gundam Wing is the only incorrect answer. I know it'll never happen. And I don't need people to yell at me for it. But I would love Cardcaptor Sakura to show up. It's so not in line with anything Toonami has done. But man.
But it did play on Toonami, right? Didn't it play on Toonami originally?
I know it played on like the WB Kids morning program way back in the day. But yeah, it's never been a Toonami thing. So it doesn't fit into the thing. But like in terms of like old school things, I mean, Gundam is such a good place. Gundam Wing, that would be, absolutely killer. Yu Yu Hakusho would be great. I would say things like Cowboy Bebop, but Toonami is like regularly showing that kind of stuff itself without the retro. It's interesting seeing this. My other selfish answer is Inuyasha.
Hey, why not?
I will absolutely tune into that. I love that they're showing Dragon Ball Z Kai. Oh wait, we are watching a Toonami promo.
That's crazy.
Hold up.
Yeah, so
it
is possible.
It was on there.
It is possible.
Okay, Evan, you were right, and now I demand Cardcaptor Sakura.
Now you have.
Now I have a demand, not a request. It's a demand.
Number one, I'd say Outlaw Star, 100%. I love Outlaw Star.
Yeah.
I'll always Toonami introduced me to Outlaw Star. Toonami introduced me to so many anime that I wouldn't have otherwise seen.
Trigun.
And the original Trigun. I'd love to see. Bring back Tenchi Muyo. I love the original Tenchi series, and like bringing those back when they haven't been a part of like the Adult Swim rotation for such a long time. I would love to see this every weekday. I think that there has been a lot of clamor. Like, throw Batman Beyond in there too. While it's playing on the screen. I would love to see those anime. Also the idea of like having them, because I was talking with Nick about this last week when the news dropped, and the idea of like all of these shows airing uncensored, like that's still mind-blowing to me, like the idea of like Dragon Ball Z uncensored in the afternoon rather than playing at midnight and everything. But
same with the Sailor Moon stuff. When it played weekdays after school, it was so censored with that dub, but what we're getting now with the Viz Media is the more correct original version.
Bringing I would love it personally. Like I don't necessarily know if they'll be doing a rotating thing on a weekly basis or whatever, but I'd love to see them do that. Maybe you have like one episode of Dragon Ball Z is always there, but then again, like always have a rotating schedule. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the big questions. Like Dragon Ball Z Kai is there because they're already showing it on the original Toonami block. It's still part of the weekly Saturday showings. It's what they have the license to, and they have the original Naruto because they have license to Naruto Shippuden and all that stuff. So it is going to be a question of what they can get licenses for, what they can show, etc., etc. But like Checkered Past, this is for, because Cartoon Network already expanded Adult Swim and it's already in this time slot. It's worked out very well for them because it's hitting the right market. It's hitting people our age who actually still watch television occasionally and who understand broadcast schedules and stuff like that, and who will tune into Cartoon Network, see an episode of like Ed, Ed, and Eddie and be like, oh man, yeah, let me just keep watching it. It's the same thing with Toonami. You're going to tune in on Friday afternoon. You'd be like, yo, is this Sailor Moon? Yes, it's Sailor Moon. And it's going to be like Toonami Rewind, with like the, I hope it has like the full
right
voices
in that
and
nostalgia
everything.
zone.
Yeah. And I think that's the proper way to do it. If Checkered Past is anything to go by, this is going to also just blow up and be an absolute success, to the point where, like Evan is suggesting, doing a rotating schedule where we can get newer nostalgic shows here, just like how we get the regular weekly shows on Toonami already. It's going to be an interesting experiment, that's for sure.
Because my thing is, I mean, you said it perfectly, Nick. It seems like this Toonami Rewind block is really geared towards, people our age, people who've already kind of grown up with anime and have this nostalgia for Toonami. It's not like it's a new program that is actively reaching out to a younger audience that is looking for content. Those younger audiences, as we know, we've talked about this on the show, looking at Gen Z and even younger than that at this point, even millennials to a certain degree, they are really just bombarding streaming with anime demands. That is the primary place that they're going. They don't especially, at least here, speaking of in the United States, there's not been a central location on television to watch anime consistently. Toonami was that for us, and at least for me, I can say my childhood. And then had a really long break, and it kind of came out, and when it came back for Toonami, it's its later time slot has been more difficult in reaching those younger fans. Because I mean, my personal experience is I'd come home from kindergarten and I would sit on my grandfather's massive beanbag in the basement, and I would turn on Toonami, and I'd have to sit through Dragon Ball because that's what my brother wanted to watch, but I wanted to watch Sailor Moon, but I'd have to wait. So that's kind of how all of that introduction happened. It's interesting to see how this block for Rewind is really going to be geared towards people more our age. And again, I'll be curious to see if it's able to expand. I mean, I would love nothing more to live in a world where there is Toonami on for, after school kids again. I don't know what the feasibility of that is, especially in a media landscape that has streaming. But man, there's a reason why Toonami is so iconic, truly.
Yeah, there's something special about curated programming, right? Like I think, this is the old head of me talking, where, you're like, these kids these days, you're watching stuff on streaming, you get to watch whatever you want, whenever you want. But there's something so special about someone programming a set of shows for you. Someone literally out there thinking, hey, they're going to want to watch the Sailor Moon episode like they're going to watch Dragon Ball Z to get to Sailor Moon, right? And there's something so powerful about a schedule. And then what Toonami is on top of that is the aesthetic, it's the experience, it's the I'm sitting down and watching Toonami. And there's something so special about that that's lost in the streaming age that, and that's the true nostalgia. It's someone choosing what I should watch. And that's, it takes away that kind of like, the choice paralysis that everyone always has. So I hope that's an appeal of it as well.
And I hope that they personally bring back Peter Cullen and Steve Bloom to do their respective, like do some bumpers.
If the whole point of this is nostalgia, come on.
Yeah, there's nothing better.
Yeah,
there's nothing better than Peter Cullen's only on Toonami. Like,
I mean,
man, that voice. Woof.
To stress, for those listening, if those listening of you are, born in 2005 or later than that, you could not have been cooler as a kid in school to be like, yeah, my parents let me watch Toonami when I get back. I don't have to do homework. Like that, I cannot stress like how like what a rite of passage it almost felt. At least, where I kind of grew up, in the South. It was, it was the cool thing to do. Which was so interesting to me because I was like, Sailor Moon. I love Sailor. I love
Yeah,
them all.
like,
But yeah.
and yeah,
Now
and
look at me.
Toonami too. Yeah, like, that's
Look at me
that's
now.
the thing. That's the thing, right? Like Toonami, I think we've said this before when we've talked about Toonami, but like I literally wouldn't be here without Toonami. Like I was
Mhm.
doing math homework and watching the OG Dragon Ball through like the Tenkaichi Budokai. Like, that.
Mhm.
Like I had no idea who Jackie Chun was, and like watching all
Yeah.
that, I was so invested, but I was also doing like long division.
Yeah, truly. I so clearly remember that this is my story. This is my like one of my key memories of Toonami was I lost my first tooth singing the Sailor Moon theme song because my grandmother had made me a peanut butter sandwich and my tooth was loose and I was finally Sailor Moon came on, and as you do, you have to sing along with that theme song. And I took a bite of my peanut butter sandwich, and my tooth just popped out. Blood was everywhere. It was like a fundamental moment for me where I was like, I'm watching Sailor Moon, I'm eating a peanut butter sandwich, my tooth is gone. Like, it's one of those things in childhood that just like really, really sticks. And yeah, I mean the amount of memories that I have with OG Toonami when I heard that Rewind was coming out, it was like I'm gonna have to tune into
Yeah,
this. So
yeah,
I'm really excited. I really hope. I mean, the Checkered Past program has done really well for
Mhm.
Toonami and the Adult Swim team and Toonami and everything. So I'm very excited to see how Toonami Rewind goes. So when is
yeah,
it starting?
absolutely. May 31st.
May
So
31st, yeah.
Wow, so you got like 10 days.
Set those DVRs, folks. Like
I know.
that's how we do it now. You got to watch it from DVR. So we'll we'll check in
Make
on
sure
it
you
for
are
sure.
showing your support to that Toonami team. It's hard to think of people who go harder for anime
Mhm.
than for
Yeah,
that entire crew. They are not new to it. They are true to it. So yeah, absolutely show support. It's coming out the 31st. So we got 10 days if you're listening to the podcast on the day that it releases on the 21st. So with that said, that's our show for the day. We had a ton of stuff to talk about.
Whole bunch of stuff.
Honestly. And there's still more. There's still more we could talk about. But we'll let you head over to comicbook.com to read our coverage on that news if you want to know what's up. See, look at that plug. Look at that. Look at that. I'm really good at that. So, thank you for listening to Anime Initiative. If you would like to get in touch with myself or my fellow co-hosts here, you can find me on social media at Megan Peters CV. Nick, where can they find you?
You can find me at Valdezalgi on the socials. And like Megan said, please check out, I have like tons of interviews that are out right now. I talked with the Fairly Odd Parents and New Wish cast and creators about like the new series. I talked to the Ultraman Rising director. And today I'll have stuff with My Adventures with Superman. So I'll have all sorts of that. So please check out Comic Book for all updates on that.
Yes. And Evan, where can they find you on the socials?
And you can find me at EV Comedy, where I'll be fighting evil by moonlight.
I was thinking, but I don't know if we get copyright struck. But
Yeah,
just
Evan,
imagine,
you're
just
singing
up-
too good. You're singing
Yeah, no,
too
you're
good.
singing too in key. Truly too in key. Well, if you want to listen to more geek news, comicbook.com has what you need. Thanks to our podcast network, Comic Book Nation. We have our main flagship show, but we also have Quick Save, which is all about video games. We have the Poll List, which is about comic books. We have Phase Zero, which is all about Marvel. And we have A Wild Podcast has appeared, a podcast I appear on where we talk about all things Pokemon. Because again, I'm a nerd. So until next week, we'll see you then.